This is Bryan Fritz of the Funky Butt Brass Band, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today on Zoom with my buddy Bryan Fritz. Welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show. Well, I was going to say welcome back because we just did this the other day, but we had some technical difficulties, so we're back doing round two, but we're doing it for real this time. But yeah, man, thank you for doing this.
Hey, no problem, man. It's always good to talk to you. So if we have to do it once, twice, three times, it's
Right, yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah, man, it's always fun.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's one of those things. I think we're all in the same boat right now, trying to still learn all this new technology. I don't think anybody was doing, or hardly anybody knew about Zoom before all this, but now we're all trying to figure out how to make it all work and everything else. And so, been having a couple of technical difficulties on some of these, but we're getting through it and we're having fun. But like I said, any excuse just to hang out and hang with you and talk about music and everything else. I mean, that's a pretty good way to spend an afternoon.
I have no complaints. And this pandemic is kind of a not so much a nice thing, but it kind of forces you to dive into technologies and ideas that you've never really put time to before. Like
Sure.
you said, none of us knew about Zoom, or in my case, like any of these, what we call digital audio workstations, which is basically a platform where you can take your music and, mix it, master it yourself. Before this, I had zero knowledge of recording my own track at home. And now of the maybe 100 or so hours that I put into it because of the necessity to learn, I'm better off because of it. So, you find the good with the bad. And
Yeah.
But like I said, here we are talking, so nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. Well, and you obviously, if you're watching this on video, you'll notice the big Funky Butt Brass Band logo right there. Bryan is a member of Funky Butt Brass Band, and so we're going to get into some of that. You guys just put out a brand new album. We got a lot of stuff to cover, so being that I don't know a ton about Bryan, I thought this would be fun that's why I invited you on the show. This is my excuse to get to hang with my friends that I don't always get to talk to and have conversations with. Usually I run into you at, a show at Broadway Oyster Bar or something like that. And,
Sure.
We're all having a good time and we don't really want to talk over the band and everything else. And so quiet space like this where we can hang out and talk is much better for this. But I know a little bit about some of your story, but I guess if you want to start at the beginning, kind of let me know. I guess you grew up in the St. Louis area, right?
Yeah, so I live in St. Peter's now, and I actually grew up here in St. Charles, just one exit down. Yeah, man, I grew up here, and, I never had any musicians in my family. The only person who actively plays right now is my brother Corey, who's a fantastic trombonist. But getting into music, it was his influence. I had my grandpa who would always have on Frank Sinatra records, Tony Bennett, you name it. He would just always have those on in the house. And so that was something I could gravitate to because I wasn't very much involved in like a lot of school activities. So I would go home and listen to my brother play his music and whatnot. And then kind of as I found the saxophone to be my own voice, I started, creating music and exploring the saxophone at home. And then what a lot of people don't know about me, but, this story I'm about to tell is like the foundation of how I approach music and how I approach others in music. But my mom and my dad, and especially my mom, when I was 14, 15 years old, she was doing what a lot of parents weren't doing with their children, and that was sneaking me into bars to listen to people play music.
Right.
And so some of the people I would go listen to was Marcel Strong, who's a tenor saxophone player and singer. I would go see Benny Smith. I would go see Oliver Sane, which nothing needs to be said about that guy. He's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Earl Gibson of the incredible Ink Spots back from the 50s. I mean, you name it. And so my mom and dad would sneak me in, and I'd be this little, just wide-eyed, hungry to learn kid sitting there in the bars. And of course, back then, it was not the same rules that we have today. So it was quite smokier back then, let's say that. So I would always come back to school the next day, and I'd open my case up, and you just smell cigarettes and beer. And I'd always get some weird looks from my band director. But, I take that experience that my mom really gave me, and both my parents, but my mom was such a huge influence on that. And, not only did she provide me that, but all the musicians that I would see that I just mentioned, every one of them was so accepting of me as a young kid to come in. They could see my desire to learn. So they never told me not to come back, and they never told me not to get on the bandstand. Another thing they would never tell me is what song they were playing or what key they were in. So that aspect right there developed my ear at a very young age, as opposed to, reading music and kind of learning the traditional way. I was learning all by ear from those people I mentioned. So that experience, along with how they approached me, is like to the core, the foundation of how I approach music. And that's, being so accepting of everyone in music, all levels, all ages. And then just always trying to provide an opportunity for anybody who wants to learn, anybody who wants to listen, hear, whatever the case is. Do my best to always give that opportunity out to others as well. So that's kind of how I got started, and then moved to Chicago, and then long story short, here I am.
Yeah. I'm with you on you're talking about those smoky bars. I didn't really spend a lot of time and I didn't really get into the music until maybe early 20s. Like that's when it really started getting a hold. I started going out to a lot more shows, and there were the smoky bars, but I didn't spend a ton of time in it. But what that story reminded me of is the Funny Bone used to smoke in there, and and so I remember leaving there a lot and just smelling ashtray and stuff. But there's some of that and I think even you're alluding to with some of these blues bars and different type of settings, it's you kind of want that though. It's just like the movies, it's like that so it's like the cast of characters that are in there, and then the smoky bar setting and everything else, and it's you think of that scene in Adventures in Babysitting or whatever, when you're nobody gets out of here without singing the blues or something, that kind of thing. So it's you've seen this stuff in movies, and it's so you kind of want that whenever you get there, when you get to actually experience it. But I also really appreciate that now everything is non-smoking. So since I am a non-smoker,
myself included, and it's on that point, that's an image and that's an experience that nobody else, very few people are ever going to have moving forward. It's not something I would wish to come back by any means.
Right.
But at the same time, like you said, you lived. Or, we lived what was in those movies, that smoky bar, the old bluesman,
yeah.
And so it's nice to have that, to have those memories. But at the same time, like you said, I'm a non-smoker. I'm becoming more health conscious as I move forward in life. So
right.
Definitely like this better.
Yeah, man. You mentioned moving to Chicago, and that was what for college?
Yeah, that was I was in Chicago from 2006 till about 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, and
for college, correct.
Right, and I know we mentioned, but you spent some time playing with a guy by the name of Eric Guitar Davis up there, who I became a big fan on accident. We met one of those smoky bars that we mentioned that we used to really enjoy was Beale on Broadway, which has since been closed up. And but I remember going down there one night and seeing my buddies Moreland and Arbuckle out of like Wichita, Kansas area. They came in and they were playing, and I happened to get there late. Like I thought they were playing the late set, but so I only got to see them for a little bit. And they were like, "Oh man, you know, stinks that." But they're like, "You should stick around though. You got to watch Eric if you never seen him." I'm like, all right, you know, we're already here. So and Eric took the stage. Me and my wife were just blown away by him and his presence on stage. And of course, you know, you don't get a nickname like Guitar if you the way you play like that, man. So he the way he would able like I would just really remember like the vividly how like he would make it like talk, you know, like he would like mimic with his mouth and stuff, and like with a slide and all the different tricks that he played. And so it was very impressive immediately when I first saw him. And then I was like, so I saw him just a handful of times. So maybe, you know, every time he came back through then. That's what I was thinking about, because when you mentioned that before, like it was just kind of weird that there's a very good chance we probably were in the same room before and never knew each other until, you know, whatever, 10 years later or whatever it's been. You know, it's like kind of crazy to think about.
I'm sure we were. And that's one thing I love. Well, one of the million of things I love about music, but I'm also with Eric. It's like, you know, you can have so many stories like that, but Eric is a person who stands out, you know, so much. And I can attest to it, and I'm sure you can too. He's one of those people where you remember exactly where you were the first time you heard him.
Oh yeah.
You know, obviously you do, because, you know, you're just telling the story, but yeah, he had such an impact. And like you said, you know, he would play the guitar, he would sing, but it was his spirit, it was his inner voice coming out of that guitar. You know, he could make it talk exactly like you said. And like I said, music in general, it's, you know, I don't know if you can hear my dog barking back there. Sorry if you can. But music in general, like I said, it brings those emotions, it brings those feelings back. You know, the first time you heard a musician that you really loved, it's like you can get that feeling back. And that's something that's so cool. But yeah, just a little bit about Eric. I first heard him, as you did, here in St. Louis, but I heard him at the Big Muddy Blues Festival. My parents, once again, would take me all around town and, you know, checking out music. And of course, this one I didn't have to sneak into, so that was nice. But we would go there and we'd sit on sit on the grass of the main stage. And I heard Eric for the first time, completely blown away. Just something that I didn't understand why I liked it at the time, but I knew that I really loved it. So fast forward here to Chicago. You know, I'm doing salsa gigs, I'm doing blues gigs, I'm doing maybe 1 or 2 jazz gigs, not really much. Some wedding gigs here and there, just trying to pay the rent, you know, not eating on a certain days just so I can have enough money to get that rent in. And even during that time of struggle financially, you know, when I got that call from Eric, I was just ready to drop everything, because that was someone from my youth who I've looked up to and who I, you know, held. I mean, he was, you know, just such a higher status than I ever thought I would, you know, be able to achieve in music. And then when I was actually at my parents', or I'm sorry, not my parents, but my current wife's parents' house. We were dating for maybe a few weeks at the time. And I go to meet her parents. So I'm putting on the best, you know, my best manners, my best behavior, so to speak. And then I get a call from a number I didn't know. And, you know, back then wasn't so worried about numbers I don't know. So
Right.
you know, unlike today. But so I answered it, and lo and behold, you know, it was Eric. And he happened to hear me play because he's playing around all of Chicago at Buddy Guys and Kingston Mines and you name it. But he happened to hear me play, and my good friend Ron Jacoby was in his band at the time. So I'm pretty sure Ron suggested that, you know, to give me a call. So thank you, Ron. But like I said, I was sitting there with Michelle's family, meeting her parents for the first time, Eric called me, and then like everything in the world just kind of took, you know, and I hate to say it, just kind of took a backseat, because once I heard his voice on the phone, the other end of that phone, that was, my heart skipped a beat. Everything just kind of changed for me. And we probably sat there for about an hour and 45 minutes, which was not the best choice when you're meeting someone's parents. So, you know, don't take that advice. However, it's how it worked. And like I said, talked to Eric for about an hour, 45 minutes. He threw a whole bunch of gigs my way. We just talked music. You know, we talked life. We talked concepts of how he approaches music and life. And, you know, he just, I could honestly go on about him forever. But he was someone that, you know, age and color and your skill level, none of that mattered to him. He could see the drive that certain musicians had within inside of them. And he had a unique gift to bring that out of people, as well as share his music with the world, which all of us are 100% convinced that he was about to take off. Buddy Guy would always introduce him as, all right, we got Eric Guitar Davis, the next me, come on up, man. And it was true. I mean, you know, you heard Eric, so you can attest to it. He was just an incredible human being. I miss him dearly, but yeah, man, I wouldn't be who I am today without him in my life. So I appreciate you mentioning him.
Yeah. If anybody is unaware of Eric's story, he was tragically taken from us a couple years back, and shot and killed, and I don't know a lot of the details about it, but
basically it was a wrong place, wrong time. Eric had a really troubled past.
Yeah.
He came from a really, really rough part of the south side of Chicago. But he was always trying to get out of that life, you know, and I can attest to that because I was, you know, luckily a good friend with him for the last couple of years of his life. But yeah, we were playing at Kingston Mines the night before, 2 nights before. And yeah, I think I was working at the gym. I was working at a front desk at that time. And I found on Facebook, somebody posted it, and I didn't think it was real. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, it's like if, you know, tomorrow one of us are gone, you can't compute that. Well, lo and behold, it happened. So, you know, I didn't care about my job. I closed down the gym. I walked out, and probably wasn't the best idea, but it's just, I had to go walk around the city of Chicago and kind of just take it all in. And yeah, just wrong place, wrong time, but you know, that is life, unfortunately.
Yeah, so sad, man.
Yeah.
You know,
but his music lives on, which is, you know,
sure,
it'll never stop.
Yeah, that's yeah, you know, even you know, just every time we lose somebody great, like it's just, you know, we lost John Prine recently, and that, you know, whatever it is, but like it's just like these. It's just I'm thankful that we have those recordings and these memories and everything else, so we can continue to celebrate these people long after they're gone and stuff. So
absolutely.
But yeah, so if you don't know Eric, be sure to check out some videos and music and stuff wherever you can.
Yeah, he's all over YouTube.
Yeah.
He made a couple of records, but wasn't put out there that much. But he's all over YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk sort of present day now. So you moved back to St. Louis, and you were I guess did you? So we met when you joined Funky Butt. That was really the beginning of our friendship. And had you been jamming around town with other groups before joining Funky Butt Brass Band?
Yeah. So. The one group that I got set up with, and actually Aaron Chandler of Funky Butt set me up with this gig, was All Roostered Up with Steve Bauer over at the Broadway Oyster Bar. And when things get back to normal, he plays, him and his incredible band play noon to 3 every single Saturday. And it's, I mean, for those who haven't been, it's a time of your life. For those who have been, I don't need to say anything more.
Yeah, it's the best Saturday afternoon party you can find in town for sure. Like, it's such a fun time.
Yeah, good people, man. Like from the bartenders, the patrons of the Oyster Bar, and the musicians. It's just a great time, and that gig really came at a like it's such a perfect time in my life, because when I moved back from Chicago, I was actually very down with music. I was very uninterested at the time, because as I mentioned before, when I was in Chicago, I was playing music so I wouldn't, basically die. Like I was playing music just to pay my rent, to have a roof over my head, to have a granola bar every couple of days. And that's stressful,
Yeah.
It's stressful, and you're not playing music to create what you want to create. You have to play the things you have to play, or else you won't get called back. And Chicago there's a lot of musicians up there. And they're all very talented. So it's a tough scene. So anyway, so I came back here, and like I said, I put the horn down, I'd say, for about a month or two. And then I started to find my, the creation within, and then Roostered Up kind of fell right into that at that same time. And, Steve Bauer, who is now one of my best friends in the world, I can't thank him enough, and his band, because that alone, with a combination of other things, but it brought me out of that creative rut that I was in, and, totally changed me for the better. But yeah, just an awesome party. I think that was the only gig I actually took, and I had so much fun with it, I decided to pass every other gig until Funky Butt came along.
Yeah. See, what was that was it 2018 you joined, or 19?
With Funky Butt?
Yeah.
That would be 2019. It was about roughly June, July, so we're getting close to a year here.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I think I heard you say something with you were talking to Adam on your show, which we'll get into here in a little bit, but you were talking about the amount of songs, and which I was like, I didn't even think about that at first, but I was like, man, that's especially coming. I mean, I'm sure some of the stuff you knew, but like coming into that band, who's over 10 years now of in existence and stuff, all the songs that they've learned collectively, and then you coming in and having to kind of be able to play all that stuff too. So I can't even imagine the kind of work you had to put in to get ready for that and stuff. And
well, luckily I enjoy it.
Sure.
I love nothing more than, sitting down and learning something, challenging myself to push, to move forward. But with that being said, it was a hell of a lot of tunes.
Yeah, right.
And I've maybe learned half of them, to be honest. When a band like that sends you their catalog, it is, you kind of want to go in the corner and hide a little bit.
Yeah, sheet after sheet, just
maybe go under the covers. And with Funky Butt, there is, at least the music that I was learning at the time, there is nothing written down. You have to sit with the recordings. You have to put in the time, or else you're not going to learn the music. It's simple as that. And like I was talking to Adam, the learning of the music I thought was difficult, but actually that wasn't the difficult part. It was getting up on the stage and then taking all that information and putting it out correctly as time was going by, in the right moments, making sure you remember each little nuance of every song, whether it ends short, whether it ends long. I could go down the list, but that was definitely the most difficult part for me. But once again, at the same time, I'm challenging myself next to musicians I respect and next to musicians that I want to be around. So even on the bad days, it's one of the best days. It was a great welcome challenge, but ton of music though, man. And then the Christmas show happened, and then there was about 40 other songs I had to learn.
Which is always a party. If you be sure to check out the Funky Butt Brass Band's Brass Extravaganza show every holiday around Christmas. They do that, and that's such a fun time. I've only been, so I went to, I was supposed to go to Brass Extravaganza. I think it was 2017, I believe, and I think that was the year the ice hit real bad.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think I was supposed to go it was Friday night or something like that. I think I had plans to go, and that didn't happen. And then Saturday, I think I was going to try to. I couldn't go to the evening show, so I went to the children's matinee show. I think it was maybe it was Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was. I think they did a couple of them, but so I couldn't make it to the evening show, so I went to the children's matinee show. So at least I could get something. So that was my very first experience with Breaststravaganza, was seeing the children's portion of the show, which was still a ton of fun. I mean, the guys are just a really good time no matter what. I mean, so and then of course you had Santa and you had the Grinch and all the other characters that were involved in that show. So I was looking forward to, I guess, so then I was 18. I went with my mother and my wife and my brother-in-law and my mother-in-law. And we got to experience the proper show at Off-Broadway that evening and had a really great time. It was just an incredible experience. And then, so then 19 come along and you guys moved it over to Del Mar Hall last year.
Correct.
For 2 shows, right?
Oh no, we were
or
there.
Two evening show, or did you do 2 shows a night?
I think it was 4 overall shows, 4 or 5, because every time we would sell a show, or we would put out a show, they would sell out, and so we just kept adding other ones. So it was 2 kids shows, and I believe 2 or 3 adult shows. So to speak. Yeah, 2 nights.
Yeah, so that's cool. And I thought it was also fun. You had our buddies El Monstero next door, and there was a great video surfaced of Adam and Aaron running over there in their PJs to play along with El Monstero. So that was fun to see.
Of course, Aaron was going for that scandalous look with those short shorts that are way too short. I was like, man, I've really had a lot of fun in the band, but after seeing him and Ron Sykes in those shorts, I was like, well, I need to think about if this is the right choice for me.
Right.
But no, those are great times. And being at Del Mar is so cool because, like you just mentioned, Aaron and Adam got to swing over to the pageant, jump in with El Monstero. The videos out there, like you mentioned, and a different experience. Of course, I never experienced the off-Broadway. So I didn't get that intimate, sweaty, bumping your neighbor type of thing. Yeah. But I know we had a lot of fun this past year, and we're gonna kick it up another notch this year for sure.
Yeah, man. So and then right after that, you guys, the Funky Butt Brass Band, went ahead and dropped a brand new album, and that's what I want to kind of get into. Also, you guys dropped a record called Onward. What was it, January that hit?
Correct.
Something like
yeah.
So let's talk about let's start with a song I wanted to put in here called Cruel World. And I didn't realize it, but you were telling me that this is actually from Willie Nelson, right?
Yeah, so it's a Willie Nelson song. It's on the game Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not out on CD. It's not out on video, so you're not going to find it. But it was either Cody or Aaron happened to it caught their ear. And then as these guys are so incredibly talented at doing, they take this very cowboy country slow song and turn it into what you're about to hear. And like I said, they're some of the best at doing that. So, but yeah, Willie Nelson song.
Yeah. And this, you also features, Pops Jackson, on keys.
Correct. Taking us to church.
Yeah, man.
Cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Sing a cruel, cruel world. I'm moving on. I've been living too fast. I've been living too long. Cruel world. with the moonlight as my guide, and it's feeling deep inside. I know now that I am homeward bound. Cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast, been living too long. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone. Desert roads and desert plains, baby, I can't feel so much pain when I look into the eyes of a girl. No more, no more, cruel world. Cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast, been living too long. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone. Dusty trail saw vapor light. Was it a mirage? I don't know, but it feels right. I felt vision, I felt trust, and knew then that I must go to her from this old cruel world. Yeah, cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast, been living too long. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone. Yeah, cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast, been living too long. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone. I've been living too fast, I've been living too long. Cruel, cruel world, don't you know?
Yeah, so that's definitely fun. This whole record's really great. I really enjoyed it, and so it's. I mean, they're all good. You know, you can't go wrong. But you can find Onward available digitally everywhere, and I guess physical copies at the website, right?
Website, CD Baby, and yeah, and any of our shows, of course. When you come out and see us, we'll have merch every show.
Yeah, man. Very cool. So yeah, be sure to check that out and follow along with Funky Butt Brass Band on your Facebook and Instagram, and getting plugged in for when we do get more shows coming up, which hopefully will be very soon, because we're all missing it. We're all missing Oyster Bar for sure, and all the fun hangs down there.
We're missing playing music for everybody.
Yeah. I do tell you, man, I think maybe we're on a sign of the times are changing. You know, things are we're getting there's closer to normalcy, because today went to QT.
Hey-o.
Got myself a fountain beverage for the first time in a couple months, so it feels good.
Yep, we're slowly getting back there, and I think as long as the majority of the population, which we can only cross our fingers, if we go about this in the safest way possible, I think we can get back sooner than we had originally expected. That being said, as long as it's, like we said, as long as it's safe. But man, QT, talk about a shot from home.
I try to plug them on every show, hoping that they'll start sponsoring my show. So
I love it.
I'm a big fan. You know, it was nice to go in there and you got the all your different taquitos and your corn dogs on the roller and stuff again. It was, just felt like old times.
Man, no kidding.
Yeah,
It's good to see things opening back up, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, man.
Without a doubt.
One of those places opening back up. You may have heard about this, but one of those places is Fritz's Frozen Custards back at it. So it got some I know drive-throughs going again and everything. But you might have a little hand in that, right?
I may have sent a couple of text messages out.
All right.
But yeah, my family started that business, and I'm in the process along with my brother of taking over ownership. And this is our year that we're kind of determining that the ownership role. So talk about a hell of an obstacle to get over.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, we closed down, and we just our main focus was to make sure our customers and our employees are safe. So yeah, we have drive-through locations. They're only open in the drive-through. Of course, our other locations have a lot of restrictions on them as well. But we're just trying to bring some happiness, some normalcy back to people. And it's funny how a little dish of frozen custard can do that.
Yeah,
but
man.
just like you mentioned with QT, I'm fortunate enough to hear all the stories from my parents' day and even up to today. It's that one thing of custard evokes so many memories, just like we were talking about with Eric. Something so simple can bring back happiness and joy and memories, and your kids, and now your kids are grown up who have their own kids, you name it. So to bring that back to some communities, it means a lot to us, and it means a lot to get that positive feedback from the consumers as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like I said, I'm a big fan, and I know it's been a big part of a lot of people's lives for, like you're saying, generations. So if it wasn't Fritz's, there was somebody else's, even, they have stories of wherever their hometown place was, that was very similar, reminiscent. And so when if they move to Wentzville or O'Fallon and they find Fritz's, they're right back, it feels like home still. So it's like, it's definitely, it still has that feeling, and you can't replace that though with just having that cup of custard. And of course, I like throwing a little Reese's Pieces or Reese's peanut butter cups on there, because that's my go-to topping of choice.
Yeah, buddy. One of our favorites is, we call it the Blast. It's peanut butter and Reese's all mixed together. So
yeah,
next time you go, if you say, can I have a small blast out of vanilla?
Right.
You'll be very, very happy.
All right. I'm getting some insider tips here now, huh? Got to check that out. But yeah, man. So if you haven't been by yet, go Fritz's Frozen Custard drive-through, or you can some of the locations are walk up and you can come get yourself some frozen custard again.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we're out in Wentzville, O'Fallon, St. Peter's, Florissant, and then all the way out in Valley Park as well. That's our one franchise location. So
yeah, it always feels good too. Like it just because when you drive by and I see the opening day, whatever it is, and like I just know that summer's coming, and that makes me happy too. So
love it.
Yeah. So between the band, slinging some custard, Bryan's everywhere, but you've also taken time during this quarantine and everything. You took it upon yourself to try a new adventure as you're hosting your own show now, called No Gear Talk on Facebook Live, and you've done what? Three now, right?
We've done 3, correct?
Yeah. So Adam, Hucky, you got Dave Grelly was on there, and Sean Cannon, right?
Yep, he kicked it off for me.
Yeah, which 3 of the best dudes in town for sure, man. Some of my favorites. I love those guys on and off stage, man. They're just some of the best guys to be around.
They really are. I think we've talked about that with every guest, or I've talked about that with every guest. Being around the people you want to be around, being around good people like that. it's easy to bring the creativity and the positive type. Let me try that again. Easy to bring the positivity out of you. And so, I kind of started that show almost in a selfish manner because I really missed talking to my friends. And I also really wanted to start talking more in depth about music other than, hey man, what are you practicing? Or, hey, what are you into these days? I really like the conceptual ideas of music. I like the physical, the mental side of music, the things that are not talked about, you're not going to find in college. So, such good information has come from those three guests. We have Rachel Parkin on, I think tomorrow, and then I have some guests lined up. I even reached out to, which actually I shouldn't plug this, but I did reach out to Andy Frasco. I'm waiting for his management to get back to me.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark, but if you don't try, you can't succeed, right?
No, I'm definitely of that philosophy, man. All they can do is say
Gotta
no.
Try.
Yeah,
exactly. So I've taken a lot of notes from you, man. What are you up? 700-800 episodes?
Yeah, 809 went out the yesterday.
First of all, congratulations, dude. That's
Thanks,
incredible.
Man.
But yeah, man, you've actually filled me in with some tips, and I've just taken tips, learning from your show. So it's nice to have a resource, a successful resource to jump onto and, like I said, make my job a little bit easier for something I'm really kind of unfamiliar with. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. No Gear Talk, Facebook Live. There's really no schedule. You just kind of have to jump on my Facebook, and I make sure it's clear. If it succeeds, I'm sure we'll get to a regular schedule. But just not putting any limitations. Is just whenever my friends can talk to me, that's kind of when it's happening.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. I've had a lot of people come up over the years and like, how do I do this? How do what I want to do a show or whatever, have some kind of idea, and I'm always just like, do it, man. Like that's all the thing. I think so many people get hung up and like maybe scared to take that first step and actually making, trying something new. They're afraid of what people are going to think or say or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but like that for me, like I had a buddy, Chris, who helped me start it. If without him, I might not be here at all today doing this, show. So I feel very grateful that he helped kind of get this thing going and kind of light a fire where, I didn't realize I was as passionate about all this stuff. I mean, I always loved music and talking about it, but if it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't be talking and doing as much as I am. So, I really discovered a passion for this podcasting and radio or whatever you want to call it. So, it's fun to see when other people kind of start discovering that too, when whatever it is, wherever their show is about and stuff. But so I appreciate that you're doing it. And that's what's fun too, is like, even though these three guys have been on my show too, it's like, it's fun to hear a conversation with you, because it's going to be completely different than any conversation that we had. So it's nice to get into a different layer of what they talk about and stuff. And, so, it's just, that's what I always appreciate about these things too.
Yeah. I love the point that you said, if you got to take a chance, you're not, and first of all, we're not going to be successful right off the bat. That's rarely that happens. But taking a chance, doing it, you're going to learn from your mistakes. In the practice room, I always record myself, and that's really hard to do because a lot of times you're going to hear the bad things that you do, but you take those bad or mistakes, however you want to phrase it, and you say, okay, that's what was I doing there? How can I improve on it? And then for myself, I get back in the practice room and I focus on exactly that. So yeah, but like you said, if you don't try, you'll never know if you're going to succeed.
Yeah, man. I'm always open to like criticism, critiquing, or just because it makes me better. But it is funny when people try to point out some of the stuff like to me that like, yeah, you say and what, these different things a lot. And I'm like, you don't think I don't hear that stuff? Like I hear it all. I hear it and I try to do better, but it's like, it's very difficult. Like, but I think like you're saying, recording and listening back to that stuff, even if it's 800 something times later, you're still working on trying to get better. Like I still struggle with it all the time, trying to be more of a professional broadcaster type of character. But I think also people connect to it being that it's just real too. Like it's just two guys having a conversation. So
yeah, it was so cool. I was watching. Are you familiar with the name Chris Potter, saxophone player?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so just basically one of the, premier saxophone players in the entire world, if not the premier saxophone player. I was like 2:30 last night. I was watching an interview with him, and he was, at I think Newark University or something like that, and he was putting on a few shows, and I guess the production manager maybe of that entire concert series wanted to tell the story, and he got a phone call. The production manager, he got a phone call from Chris around noon or 1, and Chris was asking if he can get into the university to practice. And like I said, this guy is, the best, one of the best in the entire world. And so the production manager's reaction was, Chris Potter, like, you need to practice. And, Chris, from the interview I was watching, Chris Potter told me, he's like, well, yeah. And he made the point that you'll never reach the top. And that's a beautiful thing about life, music, anything. You'll never get to the point to where, you've learned it all. So there's always something you can take, and doing the show that you just mentioned, the No Gear Talk, I'm relearning things from these people.
Sure.
So that's what I love about, like I said, music in general is just in this show, there's never a point to where you're going to stop because you've made it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Well, and you mentioned in, shooting the invite out to Frasco. I think that would be super cool, man, if we can make that happen. He's been cracking me up during this time with some of those videos he's been putting out, and with the I want to dance with somebody and all the different songs they're dancing to during quarantine. And of course it's fun to see all of the special guests, all his friends that are joining him on those videos. And but he's one of a kind. He's that
one
guy's
of a kind, man.
Throws a party for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't really know much about him, to be honest, before, but when I started working at Oyster Bar, I started in February of 16. Just spent my 4th year there, and we so my very first night was a Thursday, and it was an Aaron Cam show, which was nuts. Aaron Cam packs it out down there every time. And so, just kind of thrown into the fire type of, so to say, so to speak. So, but it was a ton of fun that night learning. And then my second shift was Andy Frasco on Saturday night. So, you
got thrown into the fire,
yeah,
man.
Oh yeah. two wild nights down there at Oyster Bar in a row, my two very first shifts. And
awesome.
And of course Frasco, like he does, is like crowd surfing to the bar over everybody and drinking a bottle of Jameson on the way and everything else. And it was quite the spectacle. And anyway, so that was a lot of fun down there, man, those shows. But that'd be fun to get to talk to him, just to pick his brain a little bit. He's even doing his own podcast now too. So
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun that he's been recording with people all around the country too. So
yeah, we're looking at you know how it is. We're looking at a 0.001% chance, but that's still a chance. So you got to try. Again,
going back to even starting believing in yourself, taking that first step, you got to try. And, like I said, worst they can say is no. And if they do, but it does stink when you get to that point where you're going through management. And I get that the guys there's a reason for all that stuff, but
sure.
Luckily, I've been fortunate enough, most of my guests are just my buddies. And I ask them and they, I can call or text or whatever, and they answer. I've only been a couple of them I've had to deal with, publicists and different people to try to get to them and things. So, yeah, it's part of the game though.
That's right.
Yeah. So, let's drop in another funky butt tune. This is, song called For the Marks, written by your sousaphone player, Cody Henry, correct?
Hey, that's correct.
Yeah, man.
Another guy who has a Facebook show.
Yeah.
This pandemic, you know?
Yeah. So anything you need to add around For the Marks?
No, man, it's a great tune. This is one of our instrumental tunes, so no vocals, but yeah, Cody, it's his tune, and you know, he's great at coming up with ideas and putting them forward really quickly. So just enjoy it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Which you will.
again, you mentioned the Cody Henry show, which is a real show, and he's another guy, you know, kind of tapped into earlier with the people getting creative during quarantine, and he's one for sure. Like, I never thought. I mean, I always enjoyed his playing, but I never thought just sitting there watching him play bass lines for, you know, an hour, trying to guess along, because without all the rest of the instruments, I didn't know that it would be as fun. But I have a ton of fun with that show. Like, so it's a really good time, and he plays all the different themes. Of course, like I think he's doing a Disney one or something tonight or something like that. He did video games.
I believe Disney is. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so it's just it's fun to see, and I just love Cody as a person and his character and all the every time, you know, he's cracking up at everything else, and it's just infectious. You just want to laugh and have a good time with him. So
well, and to that point, it's really funny. My wife and I were watching after I talked with Adam on my show, and we were sitting there watching Cody's show, and she's just like, what is this? But at the same time, I looked at her as like, I know you don't get what's going on, but you also can't look away, right?
Right. Yeah.
And once again, it's just that infectious personality that he has. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. And he's awesome, dude.
Have you made it on the board yet?
Man, I am terrible. I've only made it on the board for -1 point because I like to, Cody is a good friend of mine, so I like to jab him in the side all the time. And I've actually known Cody way before, like back in my old St. Peter's days here. So I've known him for a long time. Now, I'm really bad at guessing bass lines on Saxophone. I have found that out through the show. So thank you, Cody, for that.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that negativity out of me.
I do love that he anybody that wants to try to mess up his show and be a smartass in the comments, he'll just dock you and stuff. So like
it's funny.
Yeah. I got on the board for half a point. That was barely legible, but it was on there. So,
but you're on there,
and it's documented. So I'm holding to it. So I made it, man. I finally, I was on the board.
Man, it's a proud moment.
Yeah, it's I'm no Ethan Jones, but he's good at it.
Yeah, he's got a few songs in his head.
Yeah,
he knows.
But a lot of those guys, it just blows my mind how quick some of these guys are. Just it's very impressive, some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so big shout out to Cody Henry and the Cody Henry Show, and I think he just made himself an official Facebook page now, so you can follow along there. But yeah, man, I hopefully we'll get No Gear Talk there and take it to the next level. That's the fun part of it. Just starts with an idea, and then you just keep building and building, and to where it becomes something great like this. So
yeah, if as long as it organically moves in that direction, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
One thing I don't want to do is start to overload myself.
Sure.
I have so much focus with music and of course a business and my wife and our family. So far it's been organic and it's been great, and I'm gonna keep pushing forward with it. So I appreciate the well wishes there.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm sure things will be a little more a little different here shortly, as you are an expectant father here in not too long. So
that's correct.
Yeah, baby man. Well, congratulations on that, my friend. That's very exciting stuff.
Thank you, man. Yep, it was so we just found out about the girls, so it's been exciting, and now that it's going to be a girl, now I'm scared as hell.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah,
but no, it's yeah. I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier. We both have loving, supportive wives, and that's the foundation of why we can do what we do. Of course, so she's my rock, and she's strong as can be, and yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this adventure. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. How do you think Rocco's going to handle it?
Dude, that dog is smart, man. For those who don't know my dog, he's about 1.5 years. He's an Australian Shepherd. He's so smart. We were cleaning out one of our rooms yesterday to make room for the baby stuff, and I would give him just a random item, like let's say like a folder, like, hey, go take this to Michelle. And he would go around the house, take it to Michelle, and drop it in front of her feet, come back and be like, okay, what else can I do?
Yeah.
So he's a smart guy. I think he'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because man, I'm happy for you though. It's exciting to. That's not quite there yet, but that's definitely one of my biggest goals. Be a father someday, and so yeah. So I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you, man.
Well, so I got a couple questions for you, Brian. Been having fun asking some of these random questions, and all right. So one of them I've been asking. Okay, you get to front the band and sing one song with the band. What's the band and what's the song?
Oh, now this is in a world where I'm a really good singer.
Right.
Okay. Let's see.
Which is before you answer, I want to preface like I do love that you do get to sing in the band. I've heard you sing with Funky Butt, which I love. That's one of my favorite parts about Funky Butt Brass Band is that you got Tim, you got Aaron, you got Adam. I mean, and they do most of the vocals, but they have let you sing on lead on a songs and stuff before. So I always enjoy that you having multiple vocalists in the band and stuff like that. So
if I had to answer your question, and like I said, this is in the world where I'm an amazing singer. I would never ever step on the toes of this person because he's my favorite vocalist of all time. But I would love to step into Queen. And, once again, Freddie Mercury, the top for me, absolute top. But, I mean, and when it comes to a song, you name any of them.
Yeah.
Queen is my favorite band. Freddie Mercury is my favorite singer. I love their version of Jailhouse Rock that they do. Super rock and roll. So like I said, Queen, and you just name any song of theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong. So
that's good. Yeah, that's definitely some fun ones to sing along to. That have you seen the guy that like does like the heavy metal like scream and like I don't know I don't know his name or what his band is, but he's like this like kind of like Russian or something, European kind of guy, and he's got like tattoos all over his head, and it's terrifying. So
is he doing Queen music?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna pull it up for you real quick. Hold on a second.
Oh no.
It's the caption on it. My friend shared it the other day, and the caption on the video said, "How many virgins do you have or goats do you have to sacrifice to have a voice like this?" And like, it's the guy is like really I guess has a real metal band that and so he's like known but in that community, I guess, but I didn't
oh my god. Freddie Mercury is rolling around in his grave right now.
Look at this guy there.
I feel like I know that image. I don't remember hearing him or anything, but oh my gosh.
I heard that for the first time the other day, and I'm just like, that's the stuff of nightmares. Even if he's singing Queen.
I'm definitely in the mindset right now. It's like, well, if you have nothing positive to say, I'll just look at my Funky Butt background here.
There you go.
But I'm glad you showed me. Hey, I learned something today.
Right? Yeah. Hey, that's what it's all about. Thank you, Thank you for the internet.
Right.
What's a song you wish you wrote?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm trying to think of those songs that evoke so much emotion, and well, let's go ahead and why not? Because it's a song that goes across generations and just genres, you name it. Let's go with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the Queen effect or thing here. And I mean, talk about a song that came out and was unlike anything else, and still kind of is unlike anything else that's ever been put out. So far ahead of their time. I don't even know if that's the phrase, because we're ahead of that time now, and we're still not making things like that. So I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I heard something along with about that song too, like in the recording process, so like they did stuff like that, they didn't know if it was how it was gonna work, and like I don't know, something like they layered it, like some of those vocals, like to make the the chorus part and stuff, like they like layered vocals like 7 times or something like that, or whatever, multiple, whatever it was, something like, I forget the numbers, but it was just like, it was very experimental at the time. Nobody really like done that type of thing, especially with the, now we can do it a little easier with digitally, but of course now that back then they're doing it with tape and stuff. And so it was just interesting approach to a song. And then like, I remember like them pitching it, like, I think some of this stuff came out when the movie came out this year or last year and stuff, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. And, but they were like saying how like trying to also sell the idea to the record company on this, like, almost like operatic type of, performance in that song and stuff. And, so it worked though. I mean, the song, it's obviously that song is incredible. And, I mean, everything that those guys did. So,
well, it's one of those songs, even if you absolutely hate it, the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't get away from it. So, yeah.
I would, one of my favorite things about music and movies is that once you hear it, like your mind goes to like certain things and stuff. It all either like, sometimes take you right back to when you first heard it. Like we were talking about Eric and things like, but also I love that every time I hear it, you can't help but think Wayne's World. It's like seeing those guys headbang in the car and stuff. And
absolutely.
So, but anyway, yeah, good times. That what's something that you've tried but will never do again?
Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah. So something I tried, and we were talking about Sean Cannon earlier. I was at one of his shows, and he puts on a Blues Brothers review with Laren and Phil, and you name it. So I just purchased my newest saxophone, and I traded in my old one, like maybe a few days before this gig. And I wasn't on the gig, but I was downtown. I wanted to go hear Adam and Charlie and Phil and all those guys. So I'm hanging out, and I never leave my horn in the car because it was stolen back in the day, and that's a different story. But so I always have my horn with me. And I tell myself I am not going on stage because, for those who don't know, they do this Blues Brothers thing up right. They put the chicken wire up. People are throwing plastic cups, but they're throwing booze and water and you name it.
Or fried chickens and a Coke.
Fried chickens, man, you name it. So I'm telling myself that I'm not going up there. I think I was hanging out with Steve Bauer that night. Well, I started hanging out with Brett at the bar, and I might have had a little bit of encouragement. So all of a sudden, that whole "what the hell" mentality came over me. Went up there and played a few songs. The beer, everything was coming. Man, I opened up that case the next day, and it smelled awful. The horn was sticky. You name it. So will never bring a new horn or any good saxophone to that show. As fun and as awesome as it is, never do that again.
Yep. Lesson learned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's definitely a rowdy party, and one of my absolutely favorite nights. I try to take off work when I can, just so I can participate as a fan, because it's a ton of fun, man. That's an incredible catalog, all those songs that the Blues Brothers, and of course they do it upright. I think Sean just shared it the other day, was the video, the promotional video they filmed also of Jake and Elwood driving around, and so
Yeah, he does it right, man. He really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, big shout out to Sean Cannon. He's one of the best. Let's see. Okay, if you were a superhero, what would be your name, and what would be your superpower?
Oh, this is really funny you asking me this, because I always like to put my employees on the spot when I'm interviewing them for Fritz's.
Yeah.
And I'll ask them one random question, and a lot of the times it's, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
All right.
Okay, so let's see.
So you probably heard a lot of good ones then, right?
Oh, I've heard a lot of interesting ones from kids. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But for my answer, since I'm put on the spot here, oh man, you can go with a million things, but let's go with something I've never said before. Instead of the invisible, I want this much money. How about the ability to never forget something? The ability to, once you learn something, it never digresses if you don't put any more attention to it, which I know kind of sounds maybe a little bit nerdy. But for a musician, I can tell you, I've probably forgot so much more music than I currently know.
Yeah.
And my name, that's a good one. I always go by Fritz. That's simple.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the superpower, so it's kind of lame.
Right.
But we'll go with Fritz, the guy who never forgets anything.
There you go. That works, man. What's your strangest fear, Brian?
Strangest fear is easily when I'm on the other side of a door, and I'm always afraid that when I put my hand up there to open the door, that someone's going to open it and break my finger, and then there goes my saxophone playing for months. It is a weird thing, and I've never gotten over it. When I go to open a door, I'll kind of go to the side, and so yeah, that for sure. That's my answer.
Yeah, man. I don't really think about it like as probably nearly as much as you do, but that's something that you're saying. That's your livelihood, man. That's you can't be doing that. But I do find it also like incredibly inspiring in the same sense. I mean, people that have had things like that happen and that have overcome, like when I've seen like that, there's that guy like playing a guitar with his feet and stuff and all this, like,
right.
Like they, lost his hands or born without hands or whatever it was, and still learned how to, play music and stuff like that. Like that stuff's like, I see those videos and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe it, I don't know. It feels good. I feel so sad for that person that in the circumstances, but the fact that they didn't look at it as some sort of, obstacle. They were like, well, still going to learn how to do this or whatever it is, and push themselves to overcome instead of making excuses and stuff. So.
Right. And very few people are capable of doing that, but man, the ones you do, like you said, it's so inspiring. So
yeah, man. So, but yeah, better safe than sorry though.
I'm telling you, it's a weird feeling, but that's what it is.
Yeah, man. Well, man, it's been a ton of fun, Brian. Really glad we did this. Again, you can find Brian on. So if people want to find No Gear Talk, can you want them to add you as a friend or how?
Yeah, shoot me a message.
Yeah.
My Facebook goes that Facebook Live goes public. So you can always access my profile, and
okay.
If we're not friends, it's there.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, check that out, and we got a couple of big ones coming up. Like you're saying, you got some guests lined up, so keep an eye out for those. And you can find all things Funky Butt Brass Band on their website, and Facebook and Instagram, and of course streaming digitally wherever you're getting music at today. You can add it to your Spotify playlist or whatever, and take Funky Butt wherever you go. But man,
right.
this has been cool, Brian. I really had a lot of fun hanging with you this afternoon. So thanks for doing this, and hopefully next time I see you will not be through this webcam.
Right. I agree. And yeah, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you out there again.
Yeah,
sooner than later, hopefully.
I'll be on the dance floor here soon,
I know you will.
cutting it up. But all right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, man.